And it doesn't have to be like a polished, clean, bulleted list of what the fuck happened, but just sort of setting up and maybe retconning whatever stuff we've talked about the past week or so, to just sort of set up the prologue of things that have happened or been happening prior to you all together heading towards the town of Greenest. I'll start and just sort of give you my DM notes version of what you all have kind of told me a little bit. So I'll start with the Order of the Gauntlet members, since that one's a little more clear to me. In that is sort of the tale of Gra, the Iron Comet Rockjaw. Let me pull this up here.
That's me.
Let's get some fucking
some imagery.
Some imagery, exactly. There we go. So we've got this gigantic fucking figure, this fucking specimen of a man, in the form of a Goliath who ventured down from the Sunset Mountains. And somewhere during that time, his separation from his tribe of fellow Goliaths, a tribe he believed was a bunch of Goliaths who've done nothing but grow complacent over the years. There was no real honor, there was no real glory left among his clansmen. And I imagine we'll learn more about all of that, but for now, all we really need to know is that he ventured away from his homeland, I believe in search of glory, in search of, bringing real honor to his existence, from the olden tales of what really made an amazing Goliath. And during that time, in his travels, he became, he got recruited by this upstart organization called the Order of the Gauntlet. They promised him glory, food, drink, weapons, and it was kind of like this foreign thing for him. But eventually, I imagine he kind of started to grow into it a little bit, this more orderly thing, being sent off on these crazy missions, being praised and cheered. It was kind of leading into him becoming this almost like theatrical gladiator on the battlefield, like other soldiers, just telling tales of how he was smashing goblin heads between his thighs and his massive hands. And I'm sure there's tons of little anecdotes that kind of go along with Gra in this slowly growing Order of the Gauntlet, which was kind of like a knighthood of sorts that was starting to grow and trying to reach out and form alliances with other major cities and factions within the Sword Coast region. Similar to that, we've got a dwarf who also hailed from a different part of the Sunset Mountains, the Under Mountain portion of the Sunset Mountains, and that takes the form of our dwarven cleric Auric Bronzebeard, and Auric fast became acquainted, dare I say, friendly with Gra, when Gra, who had all this time refused to wear any sort of armor that wasn't just like hides or leathers or things that he strapped over his massive body. One, because it probably wouldn't fit. Two, probably because just of his upbringing, he was completely opposed to the idea. And that's when we enter in our very ghost-like montage of hands slowly going over spinning clay, that we see Auric Bronzebeard and some of the other soldiers who had been out on missions with a lot of these guys, kind of having this moment where they put, Gra's armor up on a training dummy along with like chainmail, scale mail, and plate mail, and like slowly guided his hand with his weapon and showed him poking the different dummies with the different armors, and Gra probably sitting there like nodding, like slowly kind of starting to click the idea that wearing armor wasn't this shameful thing, that maybe it was this even playing field, and like it was this sort of aha moment as they've all been trying to convince Gra to take on bigger, more dangerous foes, but his strong, burly chest could only take so many arrows or sword slashes in it before he would eventually fall. But back to the point of our friend Orc Bronzebeard. Not only is he a cleric of a Moradin, who had an unlikely path to becoming one with a higher power. His true passion lies in the art form of crafting, but more importantly, modifying, breaking down, tinkering, retrofitting, MacGyvering the shit out of things. And it was during some of his time as a smith in training that he first sort of had contact with the god Morden. Somehow or another, that sort of got wind of that got through to some of the clerics within his dwarven clan halls, and he was sort of forced to kind of join their order and train as one does once they discover that they have the gift. Needless to say, it went terribly, and they kind of threw their hands up in the air and gave up on him and sent him back to the forge, where it quickly became clear that it was through his smith work and his crafting that he sort of found God. And eventually, after becoming skilled enough as one of the guild artisans within the clan crafters within the dwarven halls, they couldn't really figure out how to advance his abilities further, I imagine, and eventually agreed to kind of set him off into the world to advance his skills and see what he can come back with. I think, maybe we could say that they had some connections with some of the members of the Order of the Gauntlet, and being not too far from the homeland, they kind of set you off with a bunch of clan wares to barter with, to allow you to buy room and board and eventually get set up in the city and make acquaintances with one Anthar Froome, who is this paladin leading this Order of the Gauntlet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, Anthar Froome.
And so, sorry, let me pull up. Dungeon mastering's hard. We got Auric Bronzebeard here, and Anthar Froome, who is the most dwarvish-looking human paladin you'll ever meet, I dare say. Yeah, he's a human.
Okay.
So I mean, obviously, friend of the dwarves, much respect for the beard, a natural ally. So that kind of makes up our initial Order of the Gauntlet half of this group of adventurers in terms of past events.
The gayest looking paladin I've ever seen.
He's a very jovial, loves to drink and jest. Rarely seen in a very serious way among his men. But yes,
He's got the spurs.
Yeah, man. For his fucking warhorse.
That head tilt looks so gay.
Hey.
Maybe he.
All right, pussycat.
I'm not judging.
All right, pussycat.
Just saying.
But seriously.
So this, I imagine all of these acquaintances, these events, probably happened within the past few months, right? And within the last month alone, arriving in the city of El Turil, I guess we'll go with El Turil, was a half-elf monk. You're gonna love this art even more, Casey. A half-elf monk who, with a small retinue of fellow pupils, as well as other members of the Harpers, or just fellow travelers, those including a tabaxi, a bard named Nine, sometimes referred to as Nine Tails or Nine Lives, and also, I don't have I'm just using this for the full portrait, Klug. Krennic, one for catching many eyes, but an owl species of the Aarakocra, rarely seen outside of like some of the areas in the mountains, or rumored to even be from other planes like the astral plane.
Wait,
but these
Klug's an owl man?
Yeah.
Not a man.
Just
an owl.
What I
a
love
bird
about
person.
this is that I imagine that he's actually completely upside down.
Yeah, it's actually fair. But this group arrived in El Toro maybe about 3 weeks to a month ago. And some of you are probably aware, that Leosin is a member of the Harpers, a sometimes secretive organization, who sprinkled all over the Sword Coast in sort of many cells or different locations. And Leosin came here on behalf of the Harpers and on behalf of himself. He's made it clear enough to most of you, or you probably heard the rumors, that this guy has it in for the Cult of the Dragon and has spent much of his last years for the Harpers trying to keep tabs on them and their activities. And his presence here in the city is because he's declared to Antharr Froom and trying, sort of answering Anthar's call for allies and really strengthening some of the factions on the southern regions of the Sword Coast here, that the Cult of the Dragon is not only alive and well, but is posing a greater threat than any of the other cities or factions are willing to take seriously. Antharr has listened to his old friend Leosin with open ears, but it wasn't until Krennic and Leosin had a private council meeting with Antharr and some of his other higher ups that he was able to convince him with enough evidence, or at least enough witness statements, that what Leosin has been finding and discovering in this region is true. That they do believe that there are larger and larger sightings of bandits and other groups that possibly fit the description of what Leosin tells him are actually cultists serving the Cult of the Dragon. And so it's during these several weeks, maybe a month or so, that Leosin's trying to work Antharr over, really trying to convince him to form this alliance for real, make it official. That they started kind of mixing some of their men and sending them out on missions together, like trying to just develop those bonds and kind of get people in the idea that they all might be joining forces, in the same way that soldiers from different countries in allied forces would probably be in the trenches together. They are putting that idea in all of your heads and making that a normal thing. So it was probably during these times that the four of you kind of surfaced as one of the stronger groups, like the real sort of flagship example of God, they came back from another mission. So I'm sure just like the the idea of the Order guys way back when, you all collectively have probably served together for about 2 or 3 weeks now on at least a handful of decent missions, like kobolds, goblin, orcs, whatever, things all around the town of the city of El Toro.
And Leosin's basically our leader, right?
He's not.
Yeah,
he is definitely. He's definitely not your collective leader. But he's for you, Krennic, is definitely your mentor. And is the highest ranking member of the Harpers that you are all traveling with. Now, it's unclear to me whether or not 9 is like a full-fledged member or more of just an acquaintance.
Being recruited.
I think you're being recruited, yeah. So for all of you Harpers, like I already mentioned the Order of the Gauntlet guys, you've been given the rank of Cheval, like an initiate level rank within the Order. The Harpers, you all, both 9 and Krennic have been titled by Leosin as Watchers, which is the first rank within the Harpers. And so, hand waving a bit past all of this, the road ahead is that Leosin has finally gotten Antharr to agree that this intel that Leosin claims he has might actually be a legitimate threat. And they've made it clear to you all now that Leosin thinks, that if his intel is true, Like he's probably just received word within Elturel from another Harper or from one of his agents who's like reported back to him, and they've got reports now that they've seen larger and larger forces of bandits being recruited in the towns of Bear Dusk and Barrogost, which they've sort of outlined kind of surround the Greenfields area where the town of Greenest is nestled within. And it's their belief now that these bandits are actually being recruited by the Cult of the Dragon, and that they think they're planning on sacking the town because there's been smaller incidents, smaller towns probably not on the map all around these regions, reports of attacks by like sort of large, more organized than usual attacks on these towns, where some people were taken away, abducted, possibly maybe killed, others probably killed within the town, but primarily most of their resources were just sacked, taken, anything of value, mostly gold, jewels, weapons, things like that, and food, but a high focus on valuables, and they think all of that is potentially culminating in what's going to be an even larger scale attack. Like Leosin's been like almost, not like I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like sort of painting the picture of an apocalypse. Not that grand, but like really trying to sell you as like this is going to be their biggest strike yet, and they've kind of put it on you all to be sort of the strike force that gets there first. They're planning on sending backup probably about a day or two behind you, but they wanted a small group to get there fast and try to head this off at the pass because they believe it's going to be happening within the next few days. And time is of the essence in this scenario.
All right, so basically we gotta protect Greenest from Burdusk and Beargost, the north and the west.
Yeah. Those towns aren't bad per se, but that's where they've sort of they have Harper agents and maybe even sort of friends of the Order there who have sent word back to Elturel, to Leosin and Anthar that this stuff's been going on, right? Like shady people have been hanging around in larger than usual groups. They've seen some interested, wanted, little postings on the job board or whatever, things like that, and then, all of that along with some of like the other towns that have been attacked between these larger ones, which aren't on the map. Kind of paint this picture that maybe he's onto something, maybe he's not wrong.
Okay.
So that's the big pitch. If you all want to quickly describe your characters a little bit, or fill in some gaps or bullshit, give your angle on some of that, let's do that for a few minutes, and then maybe we get into it.
Are we all mingling as a group? Are we all together?
Yeah, you all have, in present day, you all have been serving together as one of these sort of, chief example of like, troops merged together. Like your foursome has been, the golden child of this merger between the Harpers and the Order.
How long have we been together?
I was saying about 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe
and
then
a month, we've been receiving like our orders from.
Yeah, I think
other dude.
Initially you were probably called in to report to both of them at the same time, and then eventually, like as you got used to it, probably after the first week or two, either one of them might have been sending you off on like different little missions. And Leosin's missions were always a bit more like subterfuge reconnaissance, like bring me back intel. Anthar's were more about like going and trying to send supplies and sort of protect towns that had recently been attacked, which it's hard for them to tell whether they were bandits or cultists. It's banditry is pretty common in these parts.
Cool.
So.
Okay. Me and Oric are sitting in town, and we're I'm drinking a very, very large ale. I'm looking down at Oric, and I'm like, hey, have you figured out how to armor up me back? Like my back is exposed. You need to fix me up.
Oh yeah, alright. That was from the last attack. Give me just a minute.
I flick an arrow out of my back. I'm like, this is not acceptable. You're gonna hit me.
I'll help you in my own time. Let me finish my beer and then I'll fix it for you.
Alright.
Hey,
Nine's just strumming his yarting nicely. I don't have a guitar with me.
It's okay.
you feel
Suit
naked right now?
everybody.
Without your guitar?
Krennic is playing the drum
Yeah.
with 9.
Yeah, dude.
Hey,
We're a troop. That's great.
9. Do you know any dwarvish songs? They're quite good. Yeah? You know any? Could you sing me a tale of my homelands?
I only went to the college for so too short a period of time. I don't know any dwarvish songs yet.
Alright, well, sing me your next favourite song, and I will get you a beer. Do you like beer?
I quickly strum a couple chords, and it turns out to be the Pirates of Luskin, one of my more popular, famous tunes.
Oh, that one.
Ooh. I've heard this, yeah.
And then the Gra looks down. Hey, yes, very good. Very good. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, alright, here's your beer, my friend.
I clank the minstrel and it spills everywhere, and then I drink it freely.
I'm gonna do this half out of character, half dungeon master.
Oh shit!
During these weeks or month together, just so we're all very prepared for a rough night, you are all becoming very acquainted with your abilities.
Oh shit!
So, Krennic, you've got your martial arts abilities.
It's true.
You've been refining under Master Leosin.
And I'm an exceptional cook. And I cook all the meals.
Oh,
Are you a
perfect.
straight up bird person, by the
You're
way?
making me hungry.
I'm a
I know,
bird.
I'm hungry
Not
too.
a bird person.
You're a straight up bird. Okay.
Krennic looks at you, tilts his head.
What?
So
No.
one of Krennic's signature martial arts moves that he's been perfecting under Leosin is that he can attack with either an unarmed attack or an actual monk weapon. And when doing so, he can sort of make as a bonus action a enhanced unarmed strike using like his talons for scratching or like an elbow for bludgeoning. So he basically has this like 1-2 whole thing
More
going
like,
on. Ah! Yeah, there you go. Give it to me. Don't
No,
let me
that's
get in
it.
your way.
It's just a squawk.
Is your ancestor a crow?
He also possesses the ability of flight, as an owl might.
By the way, that's a compliment in dwarvish culture. Crows are highly respected. We all know it.
Obviously.
In my culture, crows are dirty creatures.
Oh, well, I meant no offense.
Beyond
Not
that,
taken.
you notice that Krennic doesn't need to or want to wear any armor. It keeps him more nimble, and some of his defensive monk maneuvers allow him to still stay fairly defensive, surprisingly so, on some of the combat encounters you've had. Whoa,
How
hot
do you
mic.
Are you
It's
sure
like
you,
wearing nothing at all.
Are you sure you don't need some armor? Because I can help you with that.
Nothing at all.
Don't understand, but alright.
9, who looks up at you while strumming away. He possesses an interesting ability, one that might be almost washing over you right now, but four times per day, until he's had a full rest, he can inspire one or more of you with a bardic inspiration as a bonus action.
Wait, is it only four? Oh, is it only 4?
4 times. It's equal
Because
to
my
your charisma
modifier.
modifier.
Okay.
So 4 times
there's
per
plus 1.
per long rest.
I give everybody at the table
Yeah.
bardic
So
inspiration.
well, you only have one bonus action per round, right? So one thing
Okay.
I did do, actually, let me pause the narrative a little bit there. If you guys go to story on the side here, I've been adding a bunch of, and I'll probably add more just as they come up, a lot of like rules from the wiki or the OneNote into the game. The main one that I want you to use is combat actions. I'm going to share it. You can drag the little red dragon head onto your hotbar.
Yeah.
You guys know how to do that at this point?
Oh, what?
So you can that way,
Nice.
I would say message of the day, and that should probably be on everyone's hotbar, just for my own sanity. So there's little links in there. Like if you ever see a little dragon head, it means there's a link to like more details. Like spell casting, for instance, has a bunch of shit. Like there's a one for hiding and how that works.
How do we get message of the day down there?
Just drag the
I'll
dragon
share
head.
it. You just
There
drag
it
the
is.
red
There it
dragon head.
is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How do you remove something from an
Right click
action
on
bar?
it and then hit the skull and crossbones.
Very cool.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
You
that's
can
awesome.
you can rename them or edit the label on it too. And so if you hold Control, Shift, or Alt, you have multiple bars if you ever want or need them.
Oh, Fiddy?
Yep.
I just checked my skill sheet. I didn't. Oh, I can adjust it. I can change it. For my
Yeah, you can change it for
proficiency. Yeah.
Yep, that's fine. So there's other stuff in there that I'll share eventually. But like, let me see like Death and Dying is a good one. You might need that tonight. There's
You're gonna need that real hard.
there's a wonderful chart in there that I got off the internet about how to figure out if you're dead.
Why are we talking about death, guys?
I'm
Oh.
ready.
I just for your own sake, since it comes up all the time, I pulled all the skills out into like one massive skill list. So if you ever just want to like quickly read through the skills without having to click through your character sheet,
Animal handler.
so on and so forth. And well, actually, the other one that's really useful in there is conditions, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like if as things come up in play, questions like, oh, how does that shit work again? I'll probably just like copy and paste stuff in here so that it's a little more accessible, because you can put links like this into actual stuff. So for example, Gra and I think 9, you guys have weapons that have reach on them.
Yeah.
On your weapon, like the Iron Comet, like within the weapon description, there's a link for like what reach actually is. Or it should be anyway. Shit, is it not shared? Hold on.
Why is
I'll
this-
fix it.
Dude, I might
wait,
have to
it's
ask you how to
18?
do this stuff.
What's that?
I may have to ask you for the conditions and stuff to get to my PC at home,
Oh yeah.
because it is not taking to my hotbar.
Well, it's okay. Yeah, don't worry about it for tonight. It's just sort of big picture stuff.
Cool.
All right. Anyway, sorry, that was a. I came back around on all that because of I was talking about bardic inspiration on 9, one of his abilities, right? And so, yeah, 4 times per day you can do this. You need a long rest to recharge the ability, but it uses a bonus action, and that's why I was talking about actions in combat, right? Because we sort of talked about briefly this notion that there's more than just attack and move, right? There's a lot of things that can go into that action slot. And for you only have 1 bonus action per turn. So
Gotcha.
technically, once per turn, you can, give inspiration to all 4 party members. You can only have bardic inspiration once, though, and it lasts for up to 10 minutes. Like, you're so inspired by his performance
that's
or
right.
what he said, for up to 10 minutes, if you've got this inspiration, you can roll a dice, which scales with his powers. But right now, it's just a d6. And you can use that d6 to add to your ability check, an attack roll, or a saving throw.
Get out!
But you
Get
have-
out when he can!
But you have to like, if you're gonna use it, you have to know before the DM says the outcome.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you
It's
wanna
just
use it.
it's just like a lot of stuff before. Like you can, you have to tell me before I've ruled the final outcome of a scenario, right? So you can like roll your attack and then be like, oh shit, that's a mediocre roll. I'm not sure about that. I want to use the inspiration that I have from 9, and then you would go ahead and roll a d6, and then we would
So
just
wait.
add that on.
Casey, is that gonna be something that you're gonna call out, kind of like the lucky dice? You'll be like, "Oh, hey, I want a bardic inspiration." This, or are we like?
He will have to
Bardic-
put the he will have to give
Before.
you the
It's a
inspiration
bonus
beforehand,
action.
and it lasts for 10 minutes, which is a really long
thought it was-
time.
I thought it was an hour. But it was 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
I take it back. I inspired nobody just now.
Well, this could be like the night before you leave, maybe.
Right, right.
So yeah, but yeah, you can use it on any of these things once, right? It's a one-time use kind of thing. It's an ability check, an attack roll, or a saving throw. And yeah, that's how Bardic Inspiration works. Beyond that, you've got spellcasting abilities, which are a little bit different than the typical caster. You've got your Cat's Claws, which gives you an ability to climb 20 feet pretty naturally. And you also have the ability to use your claws as an enhanced unarmed strike, not unlike Krennic the owl over here. Yeah.
And can you tell? I mean, I know that this is kind of out of character, but as the healer, it's helpful to know like what everybody's AC is, or like generally what their armor
How
class
armored
is.
they
Dude,
are.
You've been studying my armor since you got here. You should know it's 15.
If you click at the party sheet window, which is like the icon with all the little heads, the tiny one at the top, you can see all of that.
It's all right
Oh,
there.
perfect.
Wait, where's that party sheet?
It's that little
Top
multi-head icon
right.
with the eye next
Okay,
to it.
gotcha.
Oh,
Yep,
shit.
yep, yep, yep.
Okay.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, this is me basically just going through your character sheets, making sure you're all aware of what you can do.
I thought Orc would have a 19.
Wait till level 2.
Oric does have a 19. He just
When you do your
hasn't
plus
cast. I haven't cast.
We'll
I
get
can
to
cast that ability.
What?
Alright. Cat's
Yeah.
Claws.
I can get up to
Cool.
21, by the way.
Did I? Oh, you know what? Did I? Oh, cool. I added Cat's Claws to your inventory and your attack there, KC, too.
Oh, nice. Yes. My actions.
Yep.
Alrighty.
You have Cat's Talent, which is just your proficiency, but Feline Agility is quite interesting. Your feline agility allows you to move with a burst of speed. On your turn in combat, you can double your speed when you take your move action until the end of your turn. Once you've used this, you can't use it again until you move 0 feet for one of your turns. So it's different than most things in terms of a refresh, right?
It sounds great for a bard, though.
Exactly, yeah. So if you're like doing a thing and then you're holding and playing some songs for a while, it'll recharge. So I'm putting all this out there because I want you guys to take ownership on like cooldowns and some of that stuff as much as possible. So for you, that's pretty much it. Other than your spells right now, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but your spell list is correct, right? It's up to date.
Let me double check. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Is that under actions? Where did I put that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Actions.
Yeah. By
So
now
you only
probably...
have 2 level 1 spell slots, which means you can cast any of those level 1 spells until those 2 slots are gone.
I'd assume that my party has seen me do some trickery that
That's true.
doesn't look... It looks a little odd to the ocular assessments. And it seems to... I seem to insult my enemies, shooting daggers through words that seems to do a little bit of damage. And
You slayed
there
him.
are a couple of sayings that I can speak, or I have to think of. I haven't thought of any rhymes for
Do
it,
it,
but I'll
do
come
it,
up
do
with
it,
some
do it,
rhymes.
do it.
No, I haven't thought of any rhymes yet,
Okay.
but I will write some rhymes for this. But there's a couple words I will say that seem to kind of give you a little more pep in your step, or heal you a little bit, or bring your HP back up.
It's clear. It's clear that his music is more than just music. The way he weaves words and insults and strumming and flautisms. I don't. Basically,
Yeah.
they take on a whole magical nature that's very different than what you would have expected.
He has a hideous laughter, and somehow enemies seem to just fall asleep.
Whoa.
So
Interesting.
without like trying to tell you exactly what they are,
Yeah.
those are the effects that you see.
Okay. All right. So that's Krennic. Gra.
Yo.
Gra, the Iron Comet Rockjaw. Yeah, as described earlier, definitely has a sense of bravado and a bit of an ego, probably when it comes to combat and taking on all challengers. I assume, Kyle, that we were taking the great weapon fighting style out of all the fighting style options. So for you, and you'll have to help me remember this, if you roll a 1 or a 2 on a... Oh, shit, it's on a damage die. Oh, that's still great. If you roll a 1 or a 2 on a damage die for an attack, so if you hit and you roll damage and you only get a 1 or 2, you can choose to re-roll the dice again with the new roll. Anytime on a damage die with a great weapon, a two-handed weapon, you roll a 1 or a 2. You
Are we
can re-roll the
counting-
dice.
Are we counting the Iron Comet as a
Yes.
great weapon?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is not once per turn. This is anytime you roll damage for a great weapon, and you get a 1 or 2, you can choose to re-roll it. Now you have to take the next roll after that first one. It's not like every time you just keep re-rolling, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's the Iron Comet?
The Iron Comet is his version of like a big ass like ball and almost like a handheld flail. Like if you got rid of the girly stick and just had this massive chain and a big fucking spiked ball, a more appropriate flail for Gra the Goliath.
Is this like something I can imagine like you ripped it out of like some castle's portcullis or something
like a big chain swinging.
Like some counterweight that you just stole?
That works.
Like an anchor or a, I don't know, like so.
So
like this isn't a weapon that you could even.
Maybe the Iron Comet didn't exist until a month ago when you joined the Order, and it was one of Oryx's first major projects.
To make a custom weapon.
Yeah, and the thing that they're hoping will eventually be this big, great keep that they're in the process of building in Elturel right now. They found this like big ass like counterweight ball and chain that Oryx helped like fit these spikes onto, and they cleaned up like the rust off the old chain so you could actually wrap it around your big ass arms like in the picture and swing it around.
Nice.
I like this. If everyone's good with this, that definitely happened. Alright, so yeah, you have the Great Weapon Fighting Style, which is pretty fantastic for you. You also have Second Wind, your limited well of stamina that you can draw upon, and it refreshes every short or long rest. And a short rest can be just an hour or 2.
Yep.
And I've added that to your abilities bar. So when you check it, it's gone. But when you roll, it rolls a D8 plus your fighter level, or sorry, a D10 plus your fighter level, and you get those hit points back in an instant heal. It's like, like it's just like an adrenaline-based heal, basically.
Okay.
So once per short rest. What's really neat that I did not realize Goliath had until I read this deeper. Well, one, you're mountain born, so whereas others might have their blood thin, they might faint.
Yep.
Elevations above 20,000 feet, extreme cold does not affect you thanks to your time in the Sunset Mountains, living up there among the peaks.
I did read that.
You're a natural athlete, blah, blah, blah. It's just skill stuff. What's really fucking interesting is your Stone's Endurance.
Not read that.
You can focus yourself to occasionally shrug off
User in your
injury,
channel timed out.
thanks to your thanks to your Goliath blood, your mountain blood. When you take damage, you can use the reaction slot on one of your turns to roll a d12.
User entered your channel.
So that's also on your bar here, Stone's Endurance. So you roll the d12, and you add your Constitution modifier to that roll, which automatically gets added in here. And you reduce the damage by that total.
Oh, wow.
But you can only do this once per short or long rest, just like Second Wind. That's fucking crazy. So you have to, after taking damage, you have to very quickly interject and say, Gra felt nothing, and like, roll
User
your
in your
Stone's
channel timed
Endurance or
out.
whatever.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So that's pretty fucking neat. I did not know that Goliath's got that.
And what was the stat on that again?
It's related to it's automatically added in there, but like when you on your actions sheet, if you click the little flame icon, it's based off of your Constitution modifier. So it's a D12 plus your Con modifier. So
Okay.
it scales
Awesome.
with that. Yeah. The little red dragon
I'm
heads
invincible.
next to all your things should have like a lot of these details I'm describing too. If you need to read this shit.
Yeah, I just need to find it.
And
Wow.
last, but certainly not least, is Oryx Bronzebeard, Dwarven cleric, and boy oh boy, what an interesting smith and tinker. You, sir, have a very neat Blessing of the Forge ability, gifted to you by Morden himself.
Oh, yes.
More.
So,
What are
once
you doing?
once per day, once per long rest, you can basically imbue the gift of Moradin into a single piece of armor or a single
User
weapon.
entered your channel.
And at the end of a long rest, you can touch and imbue a different object if you so choose. But basically, whichever thing you choose, armor or weapon, until you basically remove your blessing, it basically treats that thing as a +1, like a magic armor or a magic weapon item type. So it becomes +1 to AC, or +1 to the bonus attack and damage if it's a weapon. So,
Yep.
I imagine I'll be tweaking armors a lot. But right now, your armor is 18, right? With the armor and shield. And so under
Damn.
miscellaneous, I will type a 1. And I'm just, if you click it's the tiny little magnifying glass next to your shield, that's where you can see all the components going in. So I added a 1
At the
there.
end.
Mhm.
I
For
see.
your blessing.
Yeah,
You'll also
+5
notice
on me.
that you have a little star icon.
User in your channel. Time.
Or sorry, you have a stealth disadvantage checked because you're wearing heavier armor. So whenever you roll a stealth check, it's automatically going to roll disadvantage for you.
Okay.
Aw.
But you're super armored.
So you
Like
can
a
see, like, I
trash
just
can,
put your
man.
stealth.
Sneak
you
around
can
like
see-
some pussy.
Oh wait, I have to share.
You're like
Like
a trash can.
I rolled a stealth check for you and I rolled 2 dice basically. You got a 5 and a 2. You failed.
That's interesting because I can actually get the same AC without stealth disadvantage. But
Oh.
yeah,
By doing what?
because if I go with medium armor, I think it was.
Wait, only certain armors have the stealth disadvantage.
Yeah, hold on, let me look at it. I mean, later on, by level 6, I'll need heavy armor because I get a free 1 AC at level 6. So I don't know if it's worth it now to just, like, keep it. Oh, no. I lied. Never mind. It's not. 14. Yeah, no. Oh, I'm good.
Okay. I'll have to remember in terms of equipment. Let me look real quick, actually, because my interest is piqued. I'll just send this. You can quickly see what has advantage and what does not, or disadvantage on the far stealth column. I don't believe there's anything that removes that disadvantage, save for it being like a special suit of magic armor, maybe like a special feat or something. So,
Yeah, I had been looking at the scale mail, but yeah, no, it's fine. Disadvantage. Dwarves aren't quiet, so it's
no, yeah. Anyway, Blessing of the Forge, a very special gift given to you from Morden himself. So you can basically make a +1 weapon or armor anytime. Beyond that, you've got your clerical spells from your Forge domain on your level 1 abilities. Your Dwarven Resilience means that you have advantage against poison. Saving throws against poison and resistance against poison damage. So again, you will have to help me remember that sometimes, no doubt.
Yeah.
If if you suspect something is poisonous or I describe it as such. God, I really hope Casey can reconnect because we need him.
Stall.
Your Dwarven Toughness we've already factored in, but every time you level, you might have to help me remember that too, that you get an additional single hit point on top of your total every level. Every level you just get a nice +1/+1. Doesn't like exponentially grow, it's just +1 per level.
that's fine.
Your Stone Cunning is also quite interesting and something you'll have to help me remember. But whenever you're trying to make a history check related to the origin of stonework, you basically get a double proficiency bonus added to that check. So like right now your proficiency bonus is +2, your history is 0, so you would really you'd roll a 20 + 4 for anything related to stone in terms of history or origin and things like that. That is pretty much it.
Yeah, I'll tell you just real quick
Yeah.
since we're kind of stalling.
User entered your channel.
So some of the spells, I mean, I have like clerics have
Oh,
a bunch
yes.
of spells. cantrips that I have is mending. So if your armor breaks for whatever reason, or if there's a tear, or if you need to fix like 2 halves of a key or something, mending fixes all that. I'm also going with resistance. So yeah, I think resistance. You touch one willing creature once before the spell ends. The target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to one saving throw of its choice. So that'll help, and then a couple other damage spells, and I have like Cure Wounds, and I have a neat one called Sanctuary that will protect one person from being attacked.
Damn.
And then I can give +2 AC to whoever the hell I want to. Well, for spell casting.
Cool.
Yeah.
So those are the spells. So are these the spells you're locking in for the road to Greenest?
The spells. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. You guys know it's your preference what you want to do, but if I tend to switch at the bottom, there's like mode and display on the actions tab of your character sheet.
Yeah, I do the
Combat
same thing.
and action basically just filters it down to what's actually available. And as you tick things off, if they are like a 1 use per day, they'll just disappear. If you need to see them again, you can kind of go back to standard or preparation mode. But it's not until like I, enable a long rest on you or something that some of that stuff will come back.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
Okay. Casey, how's it going?
Did Casey make a bet?
Oh,
Nice.
so shitty.
Oh man.
No.
Let's
I have
You made it this far?
Tahoe internet.
Oh.
Goddamn Tahoe internet.
Okay. Oh, you have to drag the dragon head, David, if you want to like share.
Well, so before it had like the checkmark thing that I've always had that I was just gonna use as, hey, I've used this for the day, but yeah, then it
You want
okay,
that?
it just removes it from. I got it. Never mind, we're good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you want it back. So I can just put you back. Oh shit. I can put you back to long rest mode.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. All good.
Okay. All right. So, all of these things have happened. It's at the point now where you're this forward strike team heading to Greenest. Leosin has said that him, along with a few other, groups of reinforcements, will be behind you as quickly as they can. They're hoping to be there, it's estimated that you're going to get here by sundown. They're hoping to be here by morning. So basically your goal is to get to Greenest and do what you can for them through the night and try to hold out should there be any attackers until the morning comes, until the reinforcements arrive. And with that, the Order, along with the Harpers, has decided to give you, in case things get dire, they have given you each a single healing potion, which
God.
I will add to your inventories.
We're gonna get fucked so hard tonight.
I'm gonna need a beer before we start this.
Yeah.
Fuck.
How's it going, Casey?
So good.
I mean, worst case scenario, I can screen share and Hangout and maybe just diminish or
It should be good now.
okay.
He's doing all right. Yeah.
Okay.
The parents' internet, it has the router. They were like, "Do we have to reset it once a day?"
Okay.
And we hadn't done it yet today.
Okay.
So I just did. I know.
Good. Well, if it gets to the point, maybe we can, if I have to, we could just
Jerry-rig
you
something.
can just see the screen and tell me what you want to do
Yeah.
for your character, so you can still
Cool.
take part and get in on all the stuff. So they're giving you all healing potions as you stock up with your supplies for the night, but you're not taking a ton of stuff with you. They've given you some horses to ride. We'll just keep that part simple for now. Okay, so you all should have a healing potion in your inventory.
Sweet.
So, yeah, you set out. It's early morning, and you are in Elturel. You are sort of you're skirting around the Wood of Sharp Teeth, and basically, if you're not looking at the map, let me just pull that up. You know, you're kind of heading through the plains, through the rough parts. It's not a fun trip by any means, but it's the fastest trip. And Leosin was like starting to get, maybe even a bit frantic about, it's true. These aren't just bandits. They're working for the cult. They're with the cult, and they plan to strike Greenest. And we need to get men there as quickly as possible. And they sent you off, and you're riding through the day. It's probably fairly fucking miserable. But you finally get to a point where you're about an hour away from Greenest. You can kind of, you can see sort of the clearings a little bit off, like it's in the distance at this point. Is there anything any of you would like to do?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
I want everyone to look down over at Gra, and like as they expect him to be riding a horse, they realize that he's just galloping next to the horse. He's been running the whole time, and he's just really excited, ready to kill people.
I have a question about rituals and how.
Okay.
How everywhere I read, I have no fucking clue how the hell I use them as a bard. I mean, I understand their purpose.
So you would have to have a spell that is a ritual.
Right, it has to be tagged. And I know I can do that through the book, the library book.
So
Doesn't it just take 10 minutes longer to cast?
yeah, it just takes. I mean, that's pretty much the idea. For you, let me just see what you have. None of your spells are
Currently, okay.
rituals. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So nothing to even worry about.
Cool.
Okay. So, the north side of Greenest looks to be walled off, but there is kind of like a passageway through the road that kind of leads to a path into town from the south. I assume you all are just heading in unless you have anything else.
I stopped the team. What all have you heard of this force going towards Greenest?
This forest?
That it's very big.
Which way is the biggest, would you say?
Straight. He says in jest, shrugging.
I don't know why, but I trust this thing. Let's go forward. Towards the largest group of them.
I'm just gonna play my pan flute.
Straight into danger.
Okay. One moment.
Still finding my
please.
character's voice.
Yeah.
Gra turns around and cheers. Yeah!
Yes. Ha!
Now, Phineas, out of character.
Yeah.
What are some things that I feel like you're asking us to save our own assholes right now. Are you looking at like a plan of attack of how we approach the city? Are you looking like what?
I would say the
the
only clean sort of entryway on horseback for you guys is through like this road that kind of goes from southwest to northeast through Greenest.
Okay.
Try to find my.
I know that song.
The only easiest way is the southeast.
I mean, we're going to protect it, correct? That was
Yeah.
the mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But we don't know if it's even occupied right now.
Right.
You could be careful and get off this blasted horse and just walk in, if you'd like, maybe from the north side.
Gra steps in. I've seen this before. And he aims his horse towards Greenest, and he slaps it on the butt and he lets it go.
Well, there goes our big old meat grinder right there. He's gonna go, so maybe I guess we'll follow him.
No. I'm staying behind.
He
I'm
sent
staying
his
behind.
horse, but he's staying behind.
Oh,
Is your horse a distraction?
It is.
Ah,
Let us see what they do.
Is the town under attack right now?
We'll find out shortly.
So as you guys get close, it's been a real haul. Sundown is quickly approaching, and as you get near Greenest and sort of meander with your horses, I'd say you're still probably about like 15 minutes away or so. So maybe like a mile away. So depending on how fast you head there, about a mile away.
The horse.
And instead of seeing, what you'd hoped would be kind of welcoming guards or villagers or townsfolk, you instead see plumes of black smoke rising from different parts of the village.
We're too late.
Beyond that, through the gray, thick clouds that are sort of merging with the smoke, appears to be a very large silhouette of a winged creature. Krennic, you immediately recognize it as a larger than average dragon. In terms of
is a
age
dragon.
and size.
We are up against a dragon.
Oh, there we go.
Oric is so startled he falls off of his horse.
I help him up. What do we
The
do?
pan flute just leaves my lips as I follow its trajectory.
Oi, cat person! I look down towards the lutist. Oi! What can you tell me about this dragon flying above Greenest?
I don't know much about dragons.
Use your eyes, you dumb nitwit!
I know
They
about
are big,
dragons.
and
I
they
know
fly.
about dragons.
Oh
Don't
shit!
have much time. He destroys the walls.
Slowly rising from the distance, you can see moving dotted figures scurrying about, presumably townsfolk fleeing from the dragon fear or the fires that are slowly encircling the perimeter of the town. The dragon, you note, Krennic, is, other than an initial sort of sweeping flight pattern, where he maybe perhaps set some of these buildings on fire, appears to be in just sort of like a circling, very high altitude pattern, not really taking part in the raid, as far as you can tell.
Oh.
I relay that information back to the party. I don't think the dragon's attacking. I think maybe he's standing watch.
Well,
Right,
he's certainly having an effect on causing chaos amongst the villagers.
Oh, right, because a frightful presence.
Yeah.
I can't remember that.
Did my horse come back?
Yeah,
No,
the
once
horse
the
run-
dragon
the
roared,
dragon.
all the horses probably ran off in various directions. Because story.
Alright, we're horseless. Okay.
So wait, you're telling me that the dragon is not the one who's causing the town to burn?
No,
Yeah, it's unclear.
unlikely.
Bruh presses in. How big is it? Tell me all the details.
Bigger than you.
Oh yes, I
So-
feel it.
So, Gra, that means it wouldn't be a fair fight. So just calm down just a little bit, alright?
Who would it not be fair for? The dragon?
His muscles
Please.
flex.
Please don't scream. You're gonna draw attention to us, and we're kind of in the middle of a giant open
Alright.
field. I would prefer not to be dragon meat today.
Alright. I get ya.
You kind of were given the description of the governor of this town, Tarbaugh Nighthill, and
Fucking drunk ass.
Leosin mentioned that he would probably be found within the keep in the center of town.
There we
As you
With haste.
as you approach the road into town, you see a small group of buildings, some of them on fire, and hear pretty loud screams and sort of monstrous voices trailing behind the screams. I'm just going to go ahead and plop you guys in here for a second. Hold, please.
Blando. North Blando.
North of Brando. It's got
Oh, we're
Plant's
tiny.
grave.
Oh, we are very tiny. Oh, okay.
Oh, were we south of the town?
Well, it's kind of on that you had to circle around
Get to the path.
to the main path into town, really, to find any clear access
Perfect.
points. Yes. Wait 1 sec. Give me a moment, please.
Is there anybody like running towards us?
Yeah, I was gonna
Funny,
say.
you should ask. Why don't the two of you make a perception check for me?
Who's escaping?
Greenest is in flames.
Bra doesn't need to escape.
How do we... Where is it? There it is. I'm looking for survivors.
Okay.
I don't see any yet.
Oh,
Oric,
good enough.
you spot a bunch of kobolds actively chasing in this direction, weaving between the houses, pouring out of the windows, out of the shed, clearly in hot pursuit of something as they're yipping. "Rah!" And kobolds are almost like these little dragon people themselves, right? They're almost like these shitty wannabe dragons. I don't know if you ever have seen a kobold.
Oh, I haven't.
Oh,
It's a shitty wannabe dragon.
I mean,
They
how
have wings.
how
but
many?
they're
Yes.
shitty.
How many indeed? At the moment, you see about 4 or 5 of them, and they're all kind of just fluttering past through this thing, and you kind of hear these loud screams that might even resemble small children or a motherly figure.
Oh, that's not gonna work. All right, I'm
They-
going.
They need
Gra-
saving. Yep.
Gross sticks his arms out like this, like crucifix style. He's like, come on, let's go! And then he's
Start
waiting
running.
for anyone to challenge him.
These are all
So you're
little.
standing there in the field by yourself, while we're all like rushing forward.
Yep.
You're like, bring the fight to me.
Yep.
Alright, I would
Let's see
like
if any of them attack me.
you all to roll initiative, please.
Definitely rushing forward.
Am I initiative?
Ooh,
or am I
that
just-
one!
Let's get that out of the way.
Two
Couple nat
natural ones!
Let's get that shit
Ah,
out of the way,
dang.
huh?
I'll join you.
I'm holding up the
Is it?
shield.
Am I rolling or am I just standing?
Who's
still?
who's
Yeah,
running in?
you should definitely roll. Everyone should roll.
Who just ran in? Is it?
Krennic is definitely rushing in.
Okay.
Okay. I want. Okay.
Oric. What?
And 9. What?
And Krennic.
Wow. Okay. So, Gra, what were you doing? You were just kind of like flexing and yelling for challengers?
Oh, who want to challenge? Approach! And I stand out with my arms out, like as the people run by me.
With arms wide open.
Before you is a marauding herd of kobolds, which seemingly is chasing down 5 humanoid figures. They seem to be parents with their children, and surprisingly enough, the L behind is the mother figure, brandishing a small buckler shield and a spear. She's sort of covering her children's retreat as the father figure is running towards the intersection in the road. You see her just sort of banging on the shield, and as you yell, Grog, and the others with you are almost stunned in your bravado and your burly-chested, just strong presence. They stand a little stunned, and 4 of the kobolds seem to like turn towards your attention, like, and they almost appear to be waving you on. They don't appear to be threatening you in any way initially.
They're like, the fight's that way.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Is it? Do I have the stage? How far away are they?
Gra, you have the stage. Yeah, you you've seen this before. They're kind of gesturing at you like some of the soldiers of the Order have in the past when they're waving you on to go sort of make the pincer move, go in for the kill. The kobolds are and they're pointing at the people, and they're trying to encourage you to go after them and stab them with your big axe
kobolds
on the
are?
back of your shoulder. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna move forward towards the kobolds.
Okay.
I'm gonna move right into the kobolds.
Well, alright, hold the fuck on. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you guys are a tiny bit closer, right over here. In case
I just want to get it.
token massive. Alright, let me just lock these bad boys down. So,
Are we allowed
Gry,
to
you.
say things?
Oh yes, talking's free. Within reason.
I think that they think that we're bandits and we're here to help them.
Let's play that dangle.
Alright, so, should we pincer like they said, but then we ambush them around the corner, or do we just go amongst them and then just kill them all?
I have an idea. I could. Okay, out of character. What if we just came running at them as if we were aiding them from behind them?
Oh, and then get amongst them and then just kill them all?
Yeah.
Alright, I like it. Let's do it.
There, Gra steps in. There's no honor in doing a
I know.
defenseless
Too deceptive
person.
for you.
Too deceptive. Let's go surmise what the problem is.
Okay, yeah, I mean, there's definitely there's time for, quickly saying things right here. Gra, these people are screaming, the kobolds are waving at you. What are you doing?
I'm gonna follow my teammates, but I'm not gonna attack unless the opposition attacks.
So, are you holding for now?
I'm holding.
Okay.
I want to play my glar as loud as I can. The trumpet, like the.
Is that
As
a
if
real
we're-
instrument?
Yeah.
A glar?
Glar. Glaur.
Holy shit! It's a trumpet?
No, it sounds like a trumpet,
Okay.
but it's like a little thing with two horns that sound comes out. Of two
Oh,
different
yeah,
directions.
yeah.
All right. So, Gra, you're holding. You know that if you do eventually act in this round, your position in the queue is going to be permanently offset, right? Just in terms of game mechanics.
I wanna
we won't
follow
act.
them.
We won't
I wanna
act.
follow
Gra.
them, but I wanna follow them, but not take any action if that's possible.
So you're gonna hold and wait for your first party member, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. You can hear one of the children screaming just past the house. You don't have line of sight on who it is, but one of them kind of goes running up and clutching at the coattails of the father figure. One of the kobolds engages on. You kind of see them moving past your viewpoint through the house in the shed. You can see one of them going in there, and you can hear this loud clank. As clearly he's gone in against the mom with the shield and tried to attack it and stab at her. And you hear this loud clank, and you kind of hear this guy, keep moving, and a strong female voice. One of the kobolds right at the intersection here is wearing these very poor, almost comical pajamas that he's clearly stolen out of one of these houses. They're just like these long, supersized things dangling off of his body. And with that big sleeve, he's kind of like, ah, he's still waving at you, like, yeah, like cheering you on. Especially now that he's seen Gra posturing and all that. You can kind of get the sense that more of the kids are running. Krennic, what are you doing?
I rush forward, and I rush forward as if I'm going to attack the villagers. But if I can make it there in time, I'm going to make it look like I attacked them, but I completely missed.
Okay. All right. So
See, which ones though?
Can move your token
where are
mouse to indicate
we all
there.
rushing toward? I kind of want to make sure we're going to the. Oh, okay, yeah. I go this way.
Draw
I'll
that
do a
line,
double
maybe.
move.
Okay.
I think I get to there.
Okay. So you're running on foot?
Yeah, on foot.
Okay. I mean,
I just
for
dash.
For a dash, you can. Oh, you are 25 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
On foot. Okay, that makes sense. All right, cool. All right, so you get right up to the corner.
I
of the
make it
house.
look like I'm gonna flank them.
Yeah.
My intention is I'm gonna get around the corner and then put myself in between them and the
Okay.
kobolds.
As soon as you do, like, you get this really crazed look from the father figure who's kind of caught between these weird dragon critters, and now an owl charging at him on foot, and he kind of like locks eyes with you for a moment.
Yeah, if
Like
I'm
in a
around,
quizzical sort of way, like, what the fuck?
yeah, just I give him the thumbs up, but it doesn't. It looks like a claw.
Feather.
Okay. You definitely sense that he is not sure what to make of you, but he definitely has the look of deer in headlights. He plans to just keep running with his kids, kind of thing. And he pulls some of them a little bit closer towards the intersection, but not far enough away that he gets too separated from his wife.
Oh.
That's fun.
Or presumably his wife.
Ooh.
Let's see. Let me see what this guy would do.
Uh-oh, you cut out, dude.
Uh oh.
Me? Hello?
There
Yeah,
you
I
go.
was just
You're back.
whispering to myself.
Okay.
This kobold moves forward, brandishing a dagger and a sling that he's kind of like swinging about a little bit. But you see that he kind of keeps plucking at this azure stone that he's got tied around his knee. Like, these guys are just covered in strange treasures that they've stolen from all of these households or something. And he's kind of forming in like a swarm of little rats. They're all kind of like forming into this roadway, chasing after these people. And he too kind of like swings the sling towards you all, like almost gleefully, like like join in on the hunt.
Holding these, we go to the end, right?
You can act at any point.
I would love to see that.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to see. Gra looks over and sees like the women being accosted. He looks over at the people, the dragons with the slings whirring around, and he suddenly understands there's no honor in this fight, and he starts charging off.
It's become very clear, like you,
This way.
in your younger years as a Goliath, going on raids to other, humanoid or even monstrous villages. Like, a fucking raid when you see one. These villagers are not long for this world, and some of the new values that you've come to hold within the order are clearly on the line here, as these kobolds are just chasing after these women and children. Okay, so you can do a 30-foot move. Anything beyond that, you're going into a dash action. So technically, you can go up to 60 feet and just position yourself. The kobolds, as you even just start running towards them, are looking at you and all like, "Oh, big one, smash!" Are you just going there and stopping? You still have 20 feet technically, but you can if you move only 30 feet, you can still do like a ranged attack if you wanted.
No. I want to get 60 feet up.
Okay.
in them.
All right. So you just go charging into the swarm of kobolds, and they're all
and
like,
as I
like watching you come into the fray here.
and like as I pass, like I flex real big, and like the sun glistens off my muscles. And I like kind of wink to one of them, like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I mean they're fairly enamored with you. Like, they're almost like looking at you like, with this look that we're gonna follow this one and smash with this one. Okay, so you position yourself here. This other guy moves in admiration behind you. You see another one move past you, who was already kind of like in motion towards the woman, and poke at her with his dagger, trying to take advantage, using like almost like pack tactics. And let me see. Oh yeah. There is a sound of blade entering flesh and a high-pitched scream as he stabs into the mother for several points of damage.
That's not a good one.
And in fact, she's looking orangish red, if you will, from this stab. Like, enough of the kobolds are starting to surround her that she's starting to lose the upper hand that she had while holding them off. Her kids and husband are certainly getting away, but she's just taken a bit of a toll for before doing so. Another kobold moves in behind her.
Oh, she's dying.
What is her AC?
15.
Is she L? Mother, okay.
Not
She's human. And
Oh no.
there is one last critical dagger stabbing sound
Oh.
as Kra, you witness firsthand, surrounded by all of these cheering goblins, just this fucking, what am I? Oh, here we go.
She died.
Just as you see her, like, with one last dying breath, she tries to just spread her arm out with shield and spear, trying to barricade the roadway with her body as she slowly just slumps down on the ground, clearly bleeding out and no longer among the conscious. The goblins are just sort of cheering over her body and kind of pointing and swinging their slings at the fleeing children on the road ahead of them. Mother needs to make a death saving throw.
Oh no, that's it. No.
Oh.
She's dead.
Natural 20!
What? She's
Oh,
alive.
she
She
made
runs.
Holy shit. Okay. All right, Mom.
We got this.
She's
All right,
a
Mom.
runner.
You see her lean back towards the three goblins standing over her body cheering, and she just wipes the blood off her fucking jaw like the badass she is, and spits the blood at the goblins, and plunges her spear at the one who just stabbed her. But obviously wounded and weakened, Gra, you just see her almost poorly just stab, and the kobold just steps aside and starts laughing. Despite all of that, still a brave move. She
Right,
stands
right.
there on like one knee, clutching at the wound in her ribs with the spear up, just sort of shaking it in the road here in front of them.
Gra is like half aroused, and he's like, "This one may end up being my wife."
Stepping out into the road, swinging one of the slings, you can see this guy just wearing this bandana, you know, or like maybe it's just a dress shirt he's tied around his head. He's swinging this sling, and the one next to him, this guy right here, this very gaunt, thin kobold, is almost like seeing his intent and shaking his head like, no, because you can tell he's about to fire the sling right into the orgy of kobolds standing over the mom here. But despite his friend shaking his head at him, he whoosh, hurls a stone towards all of them.
The lady dies.
And nails one of the kobolds in the back of the head.
Whoa.
For 3 points.
It's a hell of a shot.
Yeah, hell of a shot. You're just like, whoosh, and sends him unconscious to the ground.
Nice.
Wow, guys, we're starting off strong.
9. You've taken in all of this from a fair distance, but not far enough away that you didn't catch what was going on. Casey, that's you.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said. Cut up.
Yeah, 9. You catch all of this from a fair
yeah.
distance, but yeah.
Dude, I hear it all, and since I'm so in tune with the sounds reverberating off the walls coming towards my direction, it sounds like a gruesome attack is happening, and the scream of a mother. He dashes forward using the feline's agility.
Okay, well.
Sorry. Yeah, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
I'm just working with it.
Okay.
Surface here.
Oh yeah. All right. So describe to me where you want to go. I'll draw.
So he dashes, goes into like a feline fucking quadruped run,
Go that way.
goes straight up to the building and climbs up using his claws
Okay.
with a 20 move speed up to,
Alright.
to the top of this building here.
Pretty easy. Single story.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get to the max. Like, do you think could I see them from here? Basically, I want to see. Oh gosh, how do I do this circle again?
Control. Well, you have to use 2 buttons. So I don't know. You have
Oh
to control.
god damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can't do that.
Just describe it.
So where the mother is laying, fighting these 3, and I want to, as I get up on top of this roof,
Okay.
he wants to say,
You can
"It's
do so.
time to sleep," and he plays a little ditty on his pan flute that just in the direction of the 3 kobolds surrounding the mother, even including the mother, because it's a 20-foot radius.
Okay.
Let me see.
All right. So let me just pull that up real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just reading it. Let's see.
We're gonna be. We'll be learning about spells hopefully.
Yeah, you said it had like the VSM, but I'm using my music as my component.
Yes. Yeah. The material component is your instrument actually. It's your spell casting focus, which
Oh,
replaces a
damn,
material
dude.
Yeah, tribal.
Is that what a spellcasting focus does?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's used in lieu of the material components. Now there are spells that still have like a very high cost item, like and they actually list a gold amount. You actually do need that.
So, but
for the most part, yeah, like your
Okay.
hammer is your
can
spellcasting
act.
focus as the material
Perfect.
component. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
I also want to put my foot. I look like a pirate silhouette up on that thing. You know, the Captain Morgan
Oh
stance.
yeah. Okay. So within 20 feet of you, wait. Creatures within 20 foot of a point you choose. Okay, so it's a 20 foot. Yeah. So this whole deal. Well, you know, even better, you'd probably put it so it only hits, you know, like the kobolds. Or
I actually was thinking about even hitting her, so that
Okay,
she
just
is
sleeps.
not a threat to them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
She
we
looks
should
like
we
she's
just
fallen in
so you're
battle.
focused on this group though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So I need you to roll 5d8. And actually, if you go to your actions, it should
This
just
is
be
sleep?
there, right?
Yeah.
If you just click. Oh no, wait, shit.
5d8.
That's. You know what? Let me add
So
a thing on.
for
Yeah, let me add a thing to this real quick. Sorry, guys.
It's not for damage. It's for.
It's
for
just
sleepy
yeah,
time.
it's for determining a. It's an action.
I think Ra's gonna be impressed really hard.
Okay, let me do this.
Hard impressed.
5d8.
Okay. Oh, I see. Ooh.
Sleep.
Oh, I see it happening.
Sleep.
Ooh.
Nice. Okay.
Ooh.
Alright, so if you use the flame on that, it should roll the 5d8.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit, I totally did a d10, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to fix that and re-roll.
Okay.
That's
I'm
my
totally
bad.
fine with that. Yeah, I see that. I see it now.
That's my bad. 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm
Okay.
okay with that.
It is
Like that the first
now
one was a 10.
fixed.
Okay.
It now says 5d8 sleep hit dice. 13. Okay, so the way
Alright.
this works is that within this range,
That's
we
a
start with the
terrible roll.
lowest hit point. One of them is already unconscious and does not count.
Mhm.
Next one, let's see. I have to check their hit points here real quick. So
She is the lowest.
one of them has. Oh yeah. She is
Do I
definitely
want
the
that
lowest.
to be the case? Do I want that to be the case?
She, you know what? She's so low. Actually, both her and one of the kobolds immediately pass out. One of them was already unconscious. So both of them, anyone on the side is unconscious or asleep right now. So I'm gonna go do this. That guy's asleep. She is asleep. This guy with the sensational turban, he actually has shirts and pants tied around his head like a turban. This guy is definitely asleep. Jesus. And you're quickly discerning that kobold probably don't have a lot of hit points.
Cool.
And actually, even this guy on the outskirts, every single person in the AoE is either unconscious or completely asleep.
Jesus.
Wow.
Sleepy time.
Well played.
And sleep, that is a full action, yeah? So, okay.
Yes.
Cool. Let me just do this, and this, and this, and this.
You totally fucked him pretty hard.
Cool. Yeah. You, great entrance. And not to be outdone, we come to Auric.
So how do the
Bronzebeard.
how do the other kobolds react to their fellow kobolds
Just passing out.
like is it obvious that that was an attack and that they're like met by that, or are they?
I would think most of them are still appear to be charging down the road towards the children. I don't think they probably even spotted the cat at this point.
Idiots.
They've gone from like hooting and hollering and oohing and eyeing at the giant Goliath that's just appeared alongside them, to like there's a couple that are like, but they still appear to be like charging on, like, idiot with his stupid hat, fell asleep, like that kind of attitude.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna.
Maybe they think they tripped or something. They're very unintelligent.
They're stupid.
I'm gonna
With
dash.
no hit points.
Those dumb idiots.
Okay.
Get into range of where Gra is.
Dummies.
Okay, and I'm gonna give it to you on our entry here. Future, more properly placed tokens. You get 50 feet of movement, being a dwarf and all.
Oh, sorry. 20
Okay,
feet.
now it's perfect though. You definitely close the gap in this case. And
Very quick over short distances.
one of the kobolds next to Gra goes charging after the kids, and kicks one of the sleeping kobolds on the ground as he does, but manages to launch his sling loaded with a rock towards the trailing child.
Oh no! We almost got this, guys.
Um,
Gotta bring
kid-
the chillins into
The
it.
kid dies. He's.
Oh,
We almost
We
saved
tried.
this town scot-free. We're gonna
we
fucking
tried,
murder these.
guys. We tried.
Unless
What
there are a bunch more of them.
Poor little child's gonna die.
this child there's a thwunk as the rock hits the back of the kid's head, and he just face plants in the ground behind his dad and two
Murder
siblings.
That guy.
Oh,
Now, let's keep in mind, right, just for a little circle back here, under the story, I've shared a lot of things like death and dying, which comes with an insert of a death and dying chart. These people are not necessarily dead or dying yet,
No.
but
they are dead.
were you knocked
and
out?
dying.
Yes. Yes, they are definitely knocked out. You can follow that pathway down the death and dying chart.
He just threw a rock at a child. That's all I said.
I mean,
Dead
I'm
or
just
not.
saying that.
You definitely saw the kid just fucking go down mid-stride.
Dude,
Not
Nine
good.
Nine had a terrible upbringing. He does not like seeing chillins getting fucked around.
That's fair. The kobolds, you can hear him, like he's literally right below you. He is laughing with glee as he loads another stone or rock into his sling. The child behind the father, holding onto the dad's hand, kind of turns back, crying, and starts tugging at her brother and trying to tend to him as they look towards their mom as well. And they all just kind of stop in the road. And the child is desperately trying to administer some first aid. From your perspective, 9, they're comforting the sibling, but they have not yet been able to wake them up. One of the kobolds is sleeping. How long does sleep last? Holy shit. Let me check.
I can't remember now.
I'm pulling it up again.
I think it's a good while. 1 minute.
Duration,
Oh, yeah,
1 minute.
that's
Okay,
forever.
yeah, so that is 10 rounds, and we are on round 2, actually. Sorry,
Oh.
it should be 2. Okay, well, he is asleep for a while. The guy sandwiched between Auric and Gra, currently treating you in a friendly, if not neutral manner. I will say, as he goes running past you all, if you so choose, you could both take an opportunity attack.
I trip him.
Okay.
I catch him as
Like-
he's being tripped into my arms, and I swing him towards the other guy
Okay, well, all right.
as hard as I can.
All right, so
That's
Auric,
what I want.
Auric, you act first and attempt to trip him, having a clear view of him from behind. Roll a d20.
Oh, please let this happen. Oh.
Back to the
Paladin,
Palador.
no.
It's
Palador
alright, it's alright.
rolls.
Something's
It's
gonna
cool.
change.
Dude,
Yeah.
you know what? I think you need to build a new PC, Dave. You have too many
Yeah.
monitors, that's why.
I
Okay.
don't know-
Let's see.
I
Let's
don't
see
know
what
to
happened.
tell you.
Let's see what happened.
I'm not Raelian.
These guys aren't good.
The kobold also rolls a 6.
Is it up to me?
No,
it
no,
goes
hold
to
on.
the defender, right?
Well, hold on, because I need to take into account. Let's kill. I'm gonna kill the flute now that everyone's asleep. Give me
Pretty,
1 second.
Infatuated with my muscles, right?
Trip.
Oh my god.
Trip. Fighter, trip. Alright, fuck it. I'm going to say we take your strength bonus, Oric, which is a +2, giving you an 8, versus the kobold's dexterity save. And he has a +2! Okay, great!
Would it be athletics?
Yeah, what's next?
Actually, that's a fair question.
I have +4 to that.
No. Athletics is more of like you physically acting, like jumping, climbing, etc. This, I think, I want to go with my gun. This is more of like a semi-attack move. But you manage to get your foot around him and hang him up, but he doesn't trip. He kind of goes staggering forward, a bit confused, and is almost looking back over his shoulder, and just sees the mountain of Gra in front of him. What are you doing?
I wanna, how big is he? I'm looking down at him as he's passing me by.
Okay, sorry, what is that?
How many pounds is he? How big is he?
How many pounds is he? He is
Yeah.
fucking like a tiny thing to you. Like he's like one of these children that are running.
It'd be easy.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna use... God damn it! You're like an evil voice in my head.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna use
Uh-huh.
momentum. I'm gonna
Okay.
pick him up by his horns, and I keep swinging him around through the wall into the other one behind me.
Okay.
You said you're gonna throw it into it or through it?
Through it.
Just
Okay.
curious.
All right. While I wrap my head around that for a second, I just want to do something in terms of like presentation. I want to have like little, because I'm just sort of getting into the vibe of your characters.
Yeah.
I really want on the stream screen to have your portraits up here.
The
for my
stream screen.
Just for my own benefit more than anything.
Yeah. No, I understand. That's cool.
Just so I can like really get into it a little bit here. Along.
I like.
Yeah,
I
put
try to
those
do that too
muscles in your mind.
Yeah. I need to embrace all of this into the fullest. Got this guy.
sometimes. Do you use just like your index finger and your thumb to grab him by the horns? For fuck's
you-
sake?
Did you say Findex?
Your index and your thumb. You just grab him by the horns really daintily and.
It's just
throw
like,
him in.
I want, like those are two natural grasping things, and I'm gonna swing as hard as I can as he's tripping through the wall of the house into the other guy, if you
Okay.
imagine an arc around my
Yeah.
character.
The way that I imagine you when you run is you run on like your forearms like a gorilla.
Yes!
That's exactly how I imagine your guy.
And that's canon.
That's canon.
When you were running alongside the horses, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, you're just
Yep.
like
Great.
Silverback.
Perfect. Okay, I'm all set. All right.
majestic and beautiful.
So, let's talk about grappling.
Yeah.
Basically, when you want to grapple or wrestle a motherfucker, you get to make an attack action, but it's a special melee attack called a grapple. The target can be no larger than one size larger than you, which is quite big for you. And you must have at least one free hand. I would think you could probably just use a few forefingers on this fucking
Yeah.
thing. And so, in order to seize him, you need to make. All right. You know what? Fuck. You know what, Dave? Let's retcon this a little bit. They have grappling using a strength athletics check. And so, for the sake of fun, let's say that you kind of hooked your foot around this thing, and he's looking back at you, and you kind of gave it that athletic lift of your dwarven legs that have stood around the forge and just built muscles after years and years of standing and smelting and hammering. And you flick that fucking stumpy, strong leg up and send this thing reeling off balance onto his left leg, sort of looking back and hopping on one foot, trying to gain balance, right into the hand of fucking Gra the Iron Comet Rockjaw, who, with advantage, turn advantage on, I would like to make an athletics check. And the advantage comes from your good friend Auric here tripping this motherfucker.
Hold on. Oh, there we go.
Oopsie, sorry about that.
I said the little advantage thingy-majiggy.
Yeah, so you just hit that, and then anything you do once that's toggled will automatically do the double roll. So if you go to your
Oh, cool.
character sheet and go to skills,
Yeah.
and just double click or drag off the athletics dice and roll it in the chat window. It should automatically pull off 2, or just roll 2.
Whoa. That's not what I'm used to. At all. Alright, I'm just gonna try this one. Huh. There we go.
Okay, with advantage, you dropped the 1 that you would have rolled without Oric's help, as noted in the chat there. You grab at this goblin, who must make an opposed athletics or acrobatics check, whichever's higher. Let me check. Definitely acrobatics. So let's see. Kobold, baby. Kobolds. He rolls a 3, so with ease, you just see this hopping, off-balance kobold come stumbling towards you, and you pick him up with your fingers.
Can you
and
grab
it
him by
just,
his head?
For a head,
Yes,
whatever,
yeah,
just
his
wrap your
horns.
fingers around the head and just turn and fucking hurl him like a baseball. Let me see what your normal damage is. I'm gonna say let's just go ahead and use this as if you had used the Iron Comet here, and you hurl him for 1d10 plus 4 damage. And depending on what you roll for damage, will determine what happens to the other kobold.
1d10 plus 4.
Yeah. You can basically just roll the damage from the Iron Comet. 3. 5. Right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 3. So 7. This guy had very low hit points. You in fact crush, and you all kind of hear this audible popping, squishing sound as he's sort of mid-hurl. He clearly smashed the skull of this little dragon creature,
Oh!
and
Pick him up by the skull?
his lifeless body goes whipping end over end and smashes into this other kobold who was trotting up behind you, and they just go splatting against the wall of this thing. They don't go through it, but they both splat and drop down dead, not unconscious, dead on the ground at the base of the wall.
Well, that worked.
Yeah.
Grog again crucify poses. It's like, "Grah!"
Oh, God.
That was quite bloody.
He hopes that everyone hears him as he cheers out.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was
I heard
any
the
of it.
skulls cracking.
Yeah. Just hear it from the distance.
You had me at.
Alright, sorry, let me just update a few things here.
The dice are calculating.
I'm just gonna delete the fodder if that's fine with everybody off the map. You can ask questions about them or do things later if you want to. Their bodies are still there, right? Okay. That brings us back to the top of the order, where that can't be right, can it?
Well, that's what I was saying before, because Gra was the.
Well, that was an
initial
opportunity
building, he
attack at
slid
the
down,
body at the bottom. He slid down.
Gotcha.
That guy. I think I just fucked up on one of the guys. This guy's still asleep. This kid once more. Actually, the other kid next to him tries to help their sibling in getting the other one up, and is not having any luck with that. That guy is asleep. That kid's unconscious. Krennic!
Yes. I'm gonna do this thing that I tried to outline.
Okay.
Where I rushed 25 feet
And
up, 25 feet over,
okay.
and I.
Can Krennic fly?
To the sleeping
Oh yeah,
gas.
that's right. I can.
I don't know if you
fly.
can. I was curious.
No, you're right. I'll just fly over the building straight. I forgot.
Nailed it!
I forgot.
We're still learning.
The cat
Yeah.
purrs off in the corner.
Oh, how do I? There we go.
And then
So basically, but I'll do it like a monk-like move. So it's
Okay.
I basically jump, spread my wings, and then just like vault over the building, somersault,
Oh, yeah.
and then land right in front of Mother Figure.
Perfect.
you yell like,
Cool. And I think
Land, Iron Man pose.
I think that's probably
Landing.
just the right amount of distance, right? So one thing that we'll try to keep balance but not get
3D
too
in.
mathy. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, you have 50 feet of movement,
There's
right? But you're going
height.
like up, over, and then
Right.
down. So yeah, 35 is probably perfect for like all of that mathing out into like a 3D path, right?
Awesome.
perfect. So
like
you
trying to hide the fact that I can fly to people.
you fucking just coast over the roof like in this awesome monk pose past 9 and land down 3-point pose, whatever, next to the sleeping mother, and put yourself between her and the thin gaunt kobold who's swinging a now loaded rock in his sling weapon.
Right, and then since I can still do stuff, I'm going to attack.
Yep.
Uh,
Okay.
uh,
So only
Yeah,
one kobold
just-
right now is conscious, and it's this guy who is standing up with the sling in hand.
right on. I'll just straight up attack him.
Okay.
Oh no, sorry, that was
That
was the damage.
That does not count. Strike it from the record.
Oh no!
I
So
thought
with
that
a
was a
13,
one, so-
you manage to just connect.
Oh wow.
And this
I mean,
is
you can-
with what your short
Nice.
sword?
This
What's happening?
quarterstaff.
Quarter
Quarterstaff as two-handed.
Two-handed.
For a bird
Okay.
with a
So-
staff?
I'm like coming down in the air, just
Dude, you're like Avatar.
yeah, and then I'll bonus action.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
let's roll damage for that. I'm gonna
Oh,
go
yeah.
with
Oh,
the
okay. All right, all right.
sequence of events here.
There you go.
11 damage. So immediately you crack through the ribs of this thing and send him into instant death, not unconsciousness, just instant fucking
Wow.
death.
All right. Are there any others alive?
There are 2, no, sorry, 3 that are unconscious and breathing on the ground. Presumably, you know,
Which is
from what you've
4.
seen from 9 before.
Right.
This one, let me get the ones that are like clearly dead off the map.
And Fitty,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there's 4 unconscious sleeping.
There are, yeah. The one at the behind them
left.
down the road, far left, on the side is
Still
also
alive.
sleeping.
Oh, he's.
So yeah, you immediately crack through the ribs of this thing, and you just hear this as blood just spills out of his mouth, and he falls down dead. You still have your bonus action.
Yeah. Oh, but the other. Okay, so the mother figures she's fine now.
She's
'Cause the rest are-
she's breathing.
Yeah.
Unconscious with the lot of kobolds in the road with her here.
Okay. In my training, do I think that kobolds are evil?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, simple and maybe misguided, but historically in your studies, always misguided along the path of chaos and evil.
Like irredeemable.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
execute the one in front of me.
Oh!
Okay. Yeah, I mean, coup de, how do you want to do it? It's a coup de grace, essentially.
Isn't it like an automatic crit?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean,
Yeah.
basically just tell us what you do.
Oh, I just kneel down and just like shove my fist straight into it.
Like, is it brutal, or do you just, like, kind of, like,
no,
snap the
humanely.
neck? Okay. All right.
Humanely.
Humanely
These
punch
are-
him.
Taking
Straight into the
I'm taking
neck
character
nerve.
notes here about your inner nature.
I give the mom a look, and I'm
She
like,
does not-
"Ah!" and
she
I
does-
kneel down.
if she could see you or hear you, it's not clear because her lids are closed and she's just breathing and bloodied on the
Okay.
road beside the others. Okay. The father figure who was staring at you in disbelief and terror at the intersection on the road kind of looks at you and like, you know, you could almost see a glimmer of hope start to grow on his face as he rushes over protectively between his other kids and the one who's unconscious on the road there. He starts to administer mouth to mouth in a quick attempt at bringing the child back, and you kind of hear this from the kid who's still laying on the ground but is sitting up and appears to be among the living still. Gra, after your opportune attack on the kobolds who lay dead behind you, Auric is probably looking at you with that familiar smirk you've come to know over these past weeks. But it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Alright, I need you guys to picture something for me. It's like a foggy type of area, right? There's like houses on the left or right. It's at nighttime, right? It's like dead quiet. And there's this little guy on the road, and he's passed out. And his friend in the back, like, he's like, oh my god, is he dead? Is he dead? And then this giant hulking fucking beast comes out and picks up the thing on the road by his head and squeezes as hard as he can. He just smashes it.
You lift up the tiny sleeping little dragon wannabe creature in your hands and just slowly crush it like a baby bird that now lays limp in your arms. And I would say at this point, this thing is so light and tiny to you that you've basically just, as a bonus action, swept up this unconscious, unmoving thing and crushed it before it had time to wake up, killing it. And now in your hand you find this limp, almost javelin-like object, ripe for the hurling.
He looks over at this guy over here, like obviously his friend since like the beginning of their existence when they were spat out into the world. And he looks at him and then he just throws his friend at him as hard as he possibly can.
Alright, on your character sheet, I don't know why you have two of these. Oh, it's for a throne. So you see under Javelin, you've got two entries. One's for meleeing and one's for hurling. The guy that's like throwing. So you can roll the attack dice on that to hurl the kobold with the strange legwork like a javelin.
From the javelin?
Yeah. So the +6 there with the throwing guy. Oh yeah. Go ahead and roll the damage on that.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Kobold Javelin goes flying and just crushing through his friend as these little guys go just dead on the road, sprawled out for all to see. I'll leave him there just for posterity at this point.
Brock kind of like laughs. He's really pleased with that throw.
That guy's still sleeping. The mother figure needs to make a death save. Actually, she's asleep. She rolled a 20 before, thank God, because she just rolled a 1. Children are fine now, thanks to Dad and the furry friends. That guy's dead. I'm just going to delete him because now he's annoying me. 9. On top of the roof, you are seeing Gra in his Graest form of all. I mean, you've seen displays like this before, but he's clearly uncorked at the moment and going nuts on these kobolds. Atop the roof, what would you like to do, Fiddler?
Well, I'm gonna hop down.
Okay.
Gracefully and light, like a cat. And, I mean, since these sons of bitches are sleeping, can I just dispose of them both so we're done with it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
We could call it, like, at this point, you all can kind of rally around the downed mother or the father and children, since you still have these guys asleep, and basically just finish it how you want. Do you want to kill them? Do you want to tie them up? What are you doing?
I'm gonna walk in between the two of them.
And this is open discussion at this point. Yeah.
Do you have do you think that they might have some information before we just completely hack off their legs and their eyeballs?
So 9 definitely hears that. He still puts his hand on both their necks, but he only pulls to slice one of them.
Okay.
Gross laughed out. You have them both right now. You could kill them if you wanted.
So I killed the one, and then I stand up and dry the blood or wipe the blood off of his claw because it's gross.
All right.
And yeah, I look to Oric and say, "Do what you want."
Oh, well, okay. Oh, I feel like I missed most of the action, to be quite honest, but
He comes
too late.
puffing and huffing up to the group.
where is? Oh, they're all dead. All right.
No, one of them's alive.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Oh, don't worry, Dave. Oric, you'll
saved
get
one.
your chance. Alright, so bodies of kobolds lie everywhere. A sleeping mother, still under the effects of your spell, lays in the road in front of you. And the father and children nervously approach you, and they kind of like, we should duck into the building. Raids, troops, forces everywhere, bandits and kobolds. I even think I saw a strange lizard creature on the ground, and now a dragon in the sky. He coughs from all the smoke and the fire surrounding you. Smoke everywhere.
So, or Yeah, Oric's gonna kneel down next to the mom, but he's gonna say, does anybody think that maybe we should hide the bodies? Maybe, perhaps, in one of these buildings?
The middle-aged man,
bodies.
the middle-aged man with the kids, like kind of like nods. He's like, yeah, patrols everywhere. We were trying to make our way to the keep for safety. We got cut off. And I mean, like off in the distance, like if we kind of pull out here, I mean, there's enough dim light from the full moon peering through an open part in the clouds right now, and just the lights of sort of the fires sprinkled throughout the village and around the perimeter that you can kind of see. Let me go ahead and just expose some stuff here. No.
A giant dragon.
Expose a penis.
It's a dick shape.
Johnson.
Might take a second to load. But you can see off in the distance that basically you're on this opposite side of this stream. 1 second. And this crossroads that you're at looks to be the main roadway that would lead towards the path, towards the keep, which is up on like an elevated hill at the center of town. Well, come on. Hold on.
I keep hearing screaming. An
Yeah.
audio.
No, that is definitely in the distance
Oh, shit.
throughout the village here.
The town is not safe.
Grog,
Town is not safe.
We made past the outskirts.
You know someone's at a disadvantage right now.
It's my map that is slowly revealing fog of war. Actually,
Well, why that happens?
yep.
Oric's gonna check the mom. I don't think I actually have. Make sure that she's stabilized.
Okay. She does
hope
appear
you-
to be stabilized, though severely wounded, like 1 hit point and barely conscious, kind of wounded. She just happened to be asleep from the effects of Nine's magic there.
Man, I aid you as far as medicining.
Okay. All right.
Hey, there you go.
So if you want to, with advantage, you can roll a medicinal check. Oric. And you'll have to give me, I think I totally froze, like,
Oh yeah. Fantasy
21.
grounds.
you froze too?
Yeah.
It was at 18 plus 3.
I believe you. That was with the advantage?
Yeah, that was with advantage.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're able to get her back to, a very healthy, conscious state. All right, I'm going to give this a second to load while I get some very much needed drinks.
Yeah.
Take 5?
Big five.
Alright.
Alright, he's gone now. So I say we kill everything and then we just leave.
Just take the loot.
Yeah. Sounds great. The Allfather? The Allfather would not be pleased with that. Or maybe he would.
Oh, well, I don't know.
The kobolds.
He really just wants me to craft things. So,
But in all seriousness, maybe we should just like crush this dude's leg, or
Both of them.
something. Make him wake up.
Maybe we'll see him again. We'll break both of his legs now. See him again way in the future, he'll remember us.
And then like maybe try to get information about where the troops are
Mm-hmm.
and what else they have would be good. And I'm gonna go.
Sometimes these screams line up with the music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might have to. Might not be able to even fight the dragon directly.
But
Yeah,
I'll
I
just
don't think we
try
can.
it directly.
Right. It's like up there, like doing frightful presence and stuff.
Sounds easy.
So we're just trying to make it to the keep, right? Talk to what's his lips? Is that the goal?
For right
yeah.
now.
Yeah, the party goal.
I think, yeah. There's all these people that are being attacked, and like the attackers are like dragons, and they're getting smushed real easy. They're pretty
Well, these
much
are
like,
kobolds, right?
yeah.
There's a
They're-
big dragon doing flying stuff.
You guys seem like little minions, like sent out to just be chaotic bad.
It's always so funny because thanks to WoW, I see his kobolds always with candle,
Candles.
looking like rats.
yeah.
I can't see them like dragons. It's crazy.
All right, I'm gonna
have to
restart
pee.
the
Fantasy grounds.
Fantasy grounds. Yeah, I fucked it.
You fucked it.
Fucked it real good. Fucked it real good. That sucks.
Alright, then I'm going to